Welcome all to the Commissioner Evaluation Show. It's been a rough St. Patrick's Day weekend, but we are back at it. So let's get to some football that we all missed last couple days. And we get to evaluate Mighty McGlynn Home League team that had a lot of extra players on it. We got to cut it down. We're going to see how to do that with draft picks and like 11 extra guys. It's going to be an exercise, but here we go.
McGlynn is in. I repeat, McGlynn is in. Let the fun begin. This is the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with your host, John McGlynn.
Was that Herms?
He got them guests on the Rolodex, stopping by to talk about some Dynasty Superflex. Everybody, yo, commish is in. It's time to sit down to listen to John McGlynn. Yo, who we trading, who we fading, who we getting off the squad. Knowledge never overrated, playing for number one. Hey, yo, McGlynn is in. It's time to let the fun begin. It's the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with John McGlynn.
It has been a weekend for sure. St. Patrick's Day is in the books. I've been pretty much everywhere with a beer in my hand and bagpipes in my ears for the last 5 days. So we are out of that and back to reality. I got to work nights tonight. So I wanted to do something, show a little something on here about some off-season moves to do in your home league. So first thing first, we all heard about Chase and Higgins and all the good stuff already. That all came out. It's in the news. Big money, big players, a lot of good signings recently. I mean, Chargers signed Mike Williams, 49ers signed Mac Jones, which I think is an underrated signing. That's goes under the radar for sure. Steelers signed Mason Rudolph 2 years. It's good for them. Having a quality backup quarterback is absolutely fantastic. The Commanders re-signed Noah Brown. The Steelers signed my guy Kenny Gainwell. Good running back, cheap. Keep him on the cheap. Sign the rest of the team. Sign better players. The Raiders signed Raheem Mostert to a 1-year deal. Backup running backs are definitely something to have on your roster for sure. Eagles signed tight end Harrison Bryant. That might be one of the Harrison Bryant's a pretty good damn tight end. He's been stuck behind some quality tight ends in playing second or third fiddle. And he's on a team now where the Dallas Goedert has already been talked about being traded. So Harrison Bryant could have a sneaky role right there. It could be somebody I would definitely try and take a shot at in case he gets a starting tight end role in Philly. So Chargers re-signed Taylor Heineke, quality backup. What do you think is a quality backup? Lions re-signed Tim Patrick. Hey, man. Everybody knows who Tim Patrick is. He's been hurt a lot, unfortunately, but someone who special teamer, good player. Chiefs re-signed Kareem Hunt, 1 year, $1.5 million. He knows the system. He's a good running back. He's getting old, but if he's only a part-time player, gets 20, 15% of the offense, why not? And he can teach. If they sign a running back, he can be like a bridge player until they catch up to speed with that super sophisticated offense. So that's good stuff. Jets re-signed Kenny Nwangu, big-time special teams guy. Yeah, special teamers are underrated, man, when it comes to this new system with special teams, running back kicks, all that kind of stuff. Cannot have it. Having a good depth special teams guy is part of the deal, man. So Seahawks signed Cooper Kupp. Big money. I don't get this, man. This guy's kind of – I'm not going to say he's washed because I'm not – obviously, the Seahawks have professional evaluators that make these decisions. But, man, to get rid of DK Metcalf and bring in Cooper Kupp seems like a downgrade to me, especially at this point in their career. So, it is what it is. Re-signed 49ers, Kyle Juszczyk, definitely not a fantasy option, but I think players like that are invaluable to some football teams. Cowboys signed Miles Sanders. I think they're going to draft somewhere in the draft. They're going to be drafting one of their stud running backs. So Miles Sanders is probably just a change of pace guy, something like that. He's a pretty good athlete. So Ravens signed Cooper Rush, 2 years, $6.5 million. Another depth quarterback piece. Another big one we talked about already. Bengals re-signed Jamar Chase, 4 years, $161 million. T. Higgins, 4 years, $115 million. I mean, they're never going to be able to play. They're going to have to score 70 points a game just to keep up with everybody else. But whatever. It is what it is, man. If that's the way they want to play. That's how they're going to play. They seem to be doing okay anyway, so have at it. So what we're seeing now is it's the off season. We had this situation where we're getting like jet lag almost, setting lineup every week, and just, oh my God, this is too much. I can't. I want the season to be over with. And now you're kind of having withdrawal from like setting a lineup. Like, when are we going to start doing this again? I play fantasy hockey, so I went from like setting 25 lineups to setting like one lineup, and it's like a nice like kind of. I still get my fix of setting a lineup every day, but it's not like setting 20 and making 100 million like important decisions. Fantasy hockey is a great buffer from the off season of the season of football to that. But now we're getting reality. Free agency starting. A couple guys are moving around. A couple guys are getting signed. People are going places we didn't expect. People are coming back where we didn't expect them to come back to. And the NFL draft's going to shake all that stuff up too. So what we have is we're going to go over one of my teams here because it's actually my team. But I have 41 players in my roster. Now, in my leagues, to be fair, you have a 30-man roster, and then we have a 10-person IR spot. I made a trade, so I'm over the limit of 30 players. I have 31 players in my roster. I have 10 IR spots, which have to be dumped out by the time we get to after we have our rookie draft. 2 weeks after that, we have to cut down to 30-man rosters with nobody on the IR. All draft picks, all IR spots, everything's got to be 30 people. So I'm at 41 people on my roster right now. So I will show you this roster, and you guys can, I'll kind of go through it and just say, hey, this is what we're doing here. But share screen. Okay, so sleeper team. Share. Here we go. This is my team. So I have Josh Allen at quarterback. This is a super flex dynasty, tight end premium 0.75. There's 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex, and a super flex, and then a 20-man roster. And then you can see there's 10 more IRs and then my draft picks. So I'm going to run over this roster. I got Josh Allen at quarterback. He ain't going nowhere. Patrick Taylor, Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, just signed a big contract. Pat Freiermuth, it's a tight end premium, so I like Freiermuth this year. Keon Coleman, I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into. I drafted him. I was crossing my fingers. He's, he's a second year, so he's only got a 4-year contract. It's a year, I don't know if he's really going to pan out or shake out, but he was he's an exciting interview guy, but on the field, he's got some challenges to overcome. We'll put it that way. So we'll see how that's going to pan out. Patrick Mahomes is my second quarterback in a flex. So that's a pretty good setup, I think. I mean, none of those guys go anywhere for the next 10 years. So, but this legal, I hope it's already the year 5 of this league. So we got hopefully 10 more years to go, and I won't have to worry about a quarterback. I got Sam Howell. I thought maybe he'd have a chance to have some playing time in Seattle, but they've since upgraded the quarterback position in front of him. Bryce Young had a good end of the year last season. So maybe he'll come out on fire this year. Will the Thrill Levis seems like he's losing his job this year because they got an early pick, and he really hasn't panned out. Joe Milton was on every one of my teams because nobody believed in him. He got in for a game against a backup. He got in a game for New England against all backups, and he looked. He ran all around like a chicken with his head cut off, but he made some pretty good plays. So I think maybe he'll be traded somewhere. Maybe be a backup role somewhere else instead of a third or practice squad guy. Jalen Wright, running back, Miami. We'll start the running backs here. You know how Sleeper does it with quarterbacks and then running backs and wide receivers and tight ends. So Jalen Wright from Miami, great athlete. Again, Israel Abanikanda, probably a cut candidate. Roshan Johnson, all these concussions really kind of hampered his career. Kenny G to Pittsburgh, another guy I like who's on a lot of my teams, Kenny Gainwell. So he's going to be on the bubble, but man, I love Kenny Gainwell. They're probably going to draft a running back in Pittsburgh too. Antonio Gibson, Gibby, fan favorite, my favorite, receiving back, but fumbleitis issues. A lot of people consider him almost a possible roster cut already. I do not. I'm trying to do whatever I can to keep him on the team. Dylan Lobb from the Raiders. I got him in like a 5th round pick. He's probably a cut candidate. Xavier Legette, dropsies, a little bit of the dropsies. He's got to fix those situations if he wants to stick around, but 1st round pick, so he's got another couple years to figure that out. But a lot of 1 year wonder in college kind of guys. So I don't know. I mean, he's not going anywhere because he's a 1st round pick, so he's not going on my dynasty roster. I'm going to have to make room for him. Hollywood Brown just re-signed again in KC. I think he's an underrated player. I'm not worried about all the rest of the injuries and legal department stuff like that with all the rest of the players on the Kansas City. But Hollywood Brown, I expect him to have a role. They wouldn't have re-signed him if they didn't need him. Elijah Moore, another guy, big rookie season. Very exciting player, but just you got a little bit of Jameis Winston love going on. So he was able to show flashes of his talent, but never be able to put it together. Ricky Pearsall, he may have a big opportunity in San Fran going forward. At least probably a flex player at worst. So he ain't going nowhere. Jamari Thrash, yeah, he's probably a cut candidate. Kayshon Boutte, a lot of work in New England. Just because you're on the field a lot doesn't mean that you're going to be a stud producer, but being on the field a lot puts you in a good position anyway. We saw MVS have like 95% on field, 95% on a snap percentage, and got nothing in Kansas City over like a 2-year period. So just because you're on the field a lot doesn't mean anything, but at least he's on the field. It's Parker Washington. I was really expecting him to be like the number 2, number 3 in Jacksonville. They've made some upgrades, so make a decision on him. Michael Mayer, I want him to get traded. I want him to go somewhere else. If he doesn't, it's okay. He'd probably still be a tight end that makes some splashes in a 2 tight end set in Las Vegas. But I really want Michael Mayer to go somewhere. Lucas Kroll, I kind of had a little love affair with him for a little bit, figuring he'd be the man, but that just got crushed now that they've upgraded the tight end position. Noah Fantastic, another guy. Everybody, analytics hero, analytics stud, but not putting it together. Ben Sinnott, again, Washington just signed both that are 1 and 2, what they consider their 1 and 2 tight ends. Ben Sinnott's hurt, so he'll probably sit out most of this year. The dream of Ben Sinnott is slowly fading away. I don't want it to, but it is what it is. Daniel Bellinger, another one. I don't know why Daniel Bellinger. Some guys like that have all the potential, they don't pan out, but it is what it is. I just traded. Go to injured reserve. Here's all the guys that are on my IR that I'm going to have to make decisions for. Also, Marshawn Lloyd. Hopefully he'll have a situation this year. He was hurt most of last year, just couldn't get over some injuries. Jonathan Brooks. Yes, I made a big trade, 1st round pick and Bucky Irvin to get Jonathan Brooks when he's coming back from being hurt, and then he got hurt again, and he's on my bench for another year. When I could have really used a 1st round pick and a good running back. I put myself really in a hole with that move. Trey Benson, I drafted him in the 1st round of last year's draft. These 2 guys right here are single-handedly like bringing my team morale down just with their situation. Eric All, Cincinnati, another guy, got hurt again, probably be out for a little bit, but man, I guess he's a long-term play guy. So Roman Wilson, another guy that got hurt. I got a lot of these, man. When you're rebuilding, kind of, I guess I trade a lot of good players away. Even though I had Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I trade a lot of like players away, figuring it's time to start rebuilding. And all the guys that I imported last year, I walked in with just pick 307, and I walked out with like 15 picks. You see all these young players on my team, but man, Roman Wilson did not. He was hurt. Hopefully, he gets a situation. A lot of people don't like Roman Wilson. I do. I'm thinking Pittsburgh is kind of wide receiver needy. They'll probably draft somebody, but we'll see what happens there. Chase Edmonds, probably a cut candidate. Nyheim Hines getting older, still shows flashes, but it's somebody I pick up on the waiver wire. Gabe Davis. I had my hopes for Gabe Davis. I think everybody at some point in time has had Gabe Davis in the roster and either traded him or cut him away or whatever, but he's on the bubble, definitely be a cut candidate. Jerome Ford, I loved him coming out of Cincinnati, one of my favorite players in the last year's or 2 years ago's draft. And man, I really like Jerome Ford, but yeah, his time is ticking, I would say, as a profitable running back in the NFL. And then tight end Jelani Woods. No, they're going to have to upgrade a tight end also. Even though they pick tight ends every year, they're going to have to upgrade tight end from Jelani Woods. So then we get to my draft picks. I'm going to have to import 303, 407, 405, 406, 507, 504, 503. And like everybody else, when you get these draft picks, everybody wants to talk about how, oh, I'm gonna pick these late picks. I'm gonna get these late guys. Doesn't work that way, man. Doesn't really work that way sometimes. Nobody hits on their late picks. If you look at like some of the people that they do the analytics on them, and they say like 30% of first round picks hit, and then after that it's like 15% in the second round, like 7%, 5% in the third round, fourth and fifth are 1 to 2%. You get them lucky players, the Puka Nakuas and stuff like that, but it's not, man, not something that you could bank on anyway. So those might be all cut candidates anyway. Even though there are a lot of depth running backs in this class, a lot of some decent tight ends. Again, I'm wish casting these guys like I do every year with the players I draft. The wide receivers everybody talks kind of smack about them, but there's a handful of pretty deep wide receivers. But I'm going to see who's available before I just shit can these picks or trade them all away. I'm going to see what I can do on draft day. We have in-person drafts. I'm definitely going to try and figure something out to make my team better and try and get 2 or 3 picks and a player and try to maximize my asset potential so I can upgrade. Like some people like Sam Howell. I might be able to move Sam Howell because he's a backup quarterback. If I can, before the draft, maybe get someone to take Will Levis and a couple picks. Joe Milton's not going nowhere. Bryce Young's not going nowhere. Patrick Mahomes ain't going nowhere. Neither is Josh Allen. Get my running backs, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Jonathan Brooks, Marshawn Lloyd, Jerome Ford, Roshan. Roshan's man, he's like 50-50 questionable. And Bears fans, I live in the Chicago area. Somebody's going to take Roshan off my hands. I can see that. But I got to do it probably before the draft, before the Bears, take in the first or second round of the running back. Antonio Gibson is kind of like a buzzword. His name, I'm not going to give him much, but again, if I can trade like maybe a fourth or a couple fourths and Antonio Gibson for maybe a third, I'll try and do that. Patrick Taylor, probably nothing. Kenny G, I'm going to cross my fingers and try and keep him on my roster, but Israel Abanikanda probably gone. Dylan Lobb probably gone. Chase Edmonds probably gone. Naheem Hines probably gone. And then receivers, Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Pearsall, Killer Shakir, Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette, Hollywood Brown, Roman Wilson. We start getting in, and here's the roster, guys. Roman Wilson, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Keyshawn Butte, Parker Washington, Jamari Trash. So a lot of some cut candidates there, but those are some tough ones. Here's a little bit with the tight ends. Unless you're like, I think it's like probably the top like 12 or 13 tight ends all are kind of useful. But I got Bowers. I'm not going to start any of these other guys over Bowers. I may be able to put Pat Freiermuth in for a couple games when if Bowers was to get hurt or has bye week, stuff like that. I got Mayer just in case Bowers does go down. He's going to walk into an immense role, so he's not going nowhere. Fant, Bellinger, Kroll, Jelani Woods, Eric All, they're probably cut guys who I could pick up again. So. And those picks, we'll have to figure it out on draft day. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's going to be tough. So just a quick show, just to kind of keep you guys in the loop, see what's going on. So I will talk to you later. Have a great day, and thanks for joining. And subscribe, Dynasty Evaluation on my YouTube channel, dynastyevaluation.com. You can jump on there. That's where all my home league stuff's going to be at. So I'll still be pushing out some stuff for fantasy and frames, but this is like my home league dynasty evaluation stuff. So, all right. So have a good one. Find me, John McGlynn 75 on X and Dynasty Evaluation on YouTube. Look me up, like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that kind of stuff. Later.